Portland State University Mylar Library Special Collections has acquired an Armenian prayer roll which can be dated to the late 17th or early 18th century in Constantinople. The sacred artifact was drawn and written entirely by hand and is an example of an illuminated manuscript. These manuscripts were a necessary part of daily worship and church services for the devoutly Christian Armenians. In the Bible and Armenian tradition, it is said from very early on, the act of sponsoring or commissioning a manuscript or receiving one was considered a religious imperative.
Prayer rolls were used for the protection of the owner or for special prayer intentions for the owner and their family. The roll we have is quite narrow at 5 inches in width, and it is quite long, exceeding 16 feet. Despite the length, it is possible to tightly roll the scroll so it may be concealed when carried. Illuminated manuscripts and prayer rolls were confiscated or destroyed by invading foes, and the ability to conceal them was crucial. The date of the scroll is estimated due to the image it includes of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre built over the tomb of Jesus Christ. The sacred place of worship was constructed, destroyed, rebuilt, and modified over hundreds of years, and its depiction here on the roll dates the scroll to the 17th or early 18th centuries. The Armenian prayer roll in the Miller Library Specials collection includes illustrations of biblical history and Christian imagery. St. Mark the Evangelist is the first image featured on the roll. Numerous traits are present in this illustration to confirm the identity as St. Mark. St. Mark was the scribe and secretary for St. Peter, and as such is depicted at a desk with tools for writing. The image of St. Mark on the prayer roll precedes panels with illustrations of St. Luke and St. John respectively, following the order of the books of the Gospel in the New Testament. A lion is pictured sitting at his feet. Armenian scholar Dr. Varej Nesersian explains the lion represents passion and is pictured with St. Mark, by whose teaching our passions are taken under control, directed against evil, and toward good deeds. In the Gospels according to St. Mark, the headpiece for the beginning page usually includes a lion with a book or another type of tool of a scribe. The message below St. Mark's illustration is from the Gospel of Mark in the New Testament, chapter 6, verses 45 through 48.
This next image is identifiable as Luke for several reasons. This and other images repeat many features of the Kokkinobifos master's work. For example, in the portrait of Luke, the half-open desk, fish-shaped lectern, and fanciful foliage footstool all reiterate the Constantinopolitan motifs, just as the pose of Luke, leaning to dip his pen, was the one the Kokkinobifos master used for his Matthew, was repeated in the Sicilian Lowell Gospel's Matthew. Matthew, however, is not shown. This is marked by the same artist. Other evangelical symbols are also identifiers. The initial page of St. Luke's Gospel, the rectangular headpiece, sits above a much narrower indented arch and is decorated with interwoven lines forming crosses. The initial letter has again been formed from the symbols of the evangelist, the head of the bull forming the horizontal bar of the letter. The iconography of the bull is arguably the most significant of Luke's evangelical symbols. Of the four beasts that, in addition to the various meanings we have indicated, symbolize the work of salvation, the bull represents Christ's sacrificial death. It is also Luke's symbol. The inscription on the horizontal that separates the arch from the portrait of Luke refers to Christ, who in the form of the dying lamb is the grace of the new covenant. The crucifixion is depicted in the large clypeus above the author portrait of Luke. In the Gospels of Bishop Bernard in Heidelsheim, the bull appears immediately below the feet of the crucified Christ.
Erkategir is a large unsealed script appearing below the artwork. Initial letters of paragraphs tend to be in the Erkategir script or of different stylized creatures. The sections are written in Notrigir notary script. Black lettering was used in these sections, symbolizing the pain of original sin, while the white paper space symbolized the innocence of birth. Red ink was used to draw attention to certain areas, sometimes known as a rubric. Lettering in red at the beginning of a script is the colophon, providing information about the artist, the scribe, and where, when, and for whom the scroll was made. This writing could continue into the margins around the verses. Sometimes the scribe would write about his working conditions or provide little anecdotes of wisdom. So important were these manuscripts to the Armenians, it was standard practice for the owners of the roll to write their names in the script. In conclusion, The preservation and assertion of Armenian identity was not a simple process in Armenian manuscript illumination, not because that identity was prone to sudden shifts. Still, bear in mind that identity is a continuing process of construction and that it takes place in the human imagination. We see that Armenian manuscripts and their illuminating served as tools in that project of construction, reconstruction, and preservation.